So the Scottish Government's preparing to unveil plans for what's being billed as a new national deal for the country's teachers. The Education Secretary, Jenny Gilruth, is expected to announce details later. It's understood it'll include proposals to cut class contact time, floating the possibility of a flexible working week with 4 days for teaching and 1 day dedicated to other duties. Well, let's speak to Andrea Bradley, who is the General Secretary of Scotland's largest teaching union, the EIS. Morning to you.
Morning, Gary.
So, talking about a new deal for Scotland's teachers, is this as a result of teacher pressure?
Well, I think that the announcements that have been made through the media this morning are indicative, in fact, of the pressure that government and particularly the Education Department of government is feeling, given that the EIS has just last week opened a statutory ballot of teachers on workload, and it's understandable that the Scottish Government would wish to respond to that, but our concern is that the response has been made through inappropriate channels, so the announcements made via the media, rather than there be proper considered discussion and negotiation through the Scottish Negotiating Committee for Teachers, which
so
is
are you
the right
suggesting
and proper
that any deal that we get,
bargaining space.
any deal we get today from Jenny Gilruth will be imposed upon you against your wishes?
Oh, absolutely not. That can't happen. That's not how tripartite negotiations work within the SNCT. All of the agreements that are made there are done on a tripartite basis, and they have to have the agreement of all three parties, and those include Scottish Government, COSLA as the umbrella body of employers, and the teacher side.
But that hasn't happened in this instance.
All teacher trade unions. Sorry?
That hasn't happened in this instance, is that what you're saying?
That hasn't happened in this instance. And actually, there was a meeting of the SNCT working group that is specifically looking at the implementation of class contact time reduction, a meeting of that group yesterday, and none of these measures being proposed via the media today were mentioned at all by government at that meeting. So that's very disappointing. That's not to say that we are not interested in some of the content of what might be proposed, but the proper forum for negotiation around the detail of that and close scrutiny of the detail around that is the SNCT forum. That is where that should be right and properly done.
Well, let's look at some of the detail that we're being told may well be in this statement from Jenny Gilruth. A reduction in class contact time for teachers, enhanced maternity leave, more time for lesson preparation and additional needs support. Certainly from talking to you and other union leaders and teachers over recent years, these are big issues as far as those in the classroom are concerned.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean these are matters, particularly around class contact time reduction and workload pressures and the time that teachers need to respond to the array and complexity of ASN needs. These are matters that we've been raising with government for years. And actually, the Scottish Government's own manifesto commitment made in 2021 was what was included in that manifesto in order to respond to some of that. The frustration is that it has taken almost 5 years for there to be an implementation plan for that manifesto commitment, and also the one that went alongside it to recruit 3,500 additional teachers to help with the burden of workload within our education system.
I was going to ask you about that, because obviously a reduction in class contact time means that you will need more people in the classroom to deal with that.
Yes.
Where are we in terms of recruitment? Are there enough teachers at the moment, notwithstanding the commitment to get 3,500 more?
No, we are not. At the last school census count, we were 600 teachers fewer than we were the previous year, and we are 1,688 teachers fewer than we were in 2007. So there's still a fair bit of work to be done in regards to teacher recruitment and the honouring of the manifesto commitment to increase teacher numbers by 3,500 for all the reasons that we know are absolutely applicable to the education context at the moment.
We're talking potentially about a 4-day week, or at least 4-day week in the classroom, and then that 5th day would be used for preparation or for other duties. There'll be people listening to this, and you'll have heard this trope many times. Well, teachers have it easy because, the school day is actually relatively short compared to hours that others work, and of course there are all the holidays as well. What do you say to those who might feel as though that this is an added bonus, as it were, to teachers who are already getting it quite easy as they might see it?
So the first thing to say is that the reference to the 4-day flexible teaching week is the first that we have heard of it. We heard of it through the media, through the Scottish Government press release. We are not aware of any detail in respect of that whatsoever. And in response to any comments that might be made about how teachers work, teachers on average are working 46.5 hours per week. 11.5 of those hours are extra, unpaid. They are working evenings, weekends, into their holiday times, and it is making a significant number of them unwell. So, the idea that teachers are doing 9 till 3 o'clock, and that is the entirety of the work that they're doing across a day is just that's an age-old and long out of date stereotype.
Just finally, you started at the beginning by talking about the fact that yours and other unions are balloting over conditions, but also pay as well. Would an announcement today, and if these measures that we've been talking about are included in that, would it make any material difference to the questions you're asking your members?
So just to be clear, we are not balloting on pay. Pay has been agreed, and that was another slightly maybe confusing element of the press release that came out from Scottish Government. Pay is not part of any other negotiation around any other aspect of teachers' terms and conditions. The pay award has been agreed for this year, and councils are in the process of adjusting payrolls to provide the uplift to teachers. So that's an entirely separate negotiation.
But does this affect any of the questions that you're balloting your members on?
Oh, no, it doesn't, because, although some announcements have been made via the media, and I believe that there will be perhaps a bit more detail given at a conference later today, it does not amount to a plan. It does not amount to a plan that can be properly scrutinised and discussed at the SNCT, and that is what we have been expecting to happen since the 3rd of February this year, and we are now 290 days past a deadline that the Cabinet Secretary and others assured the teacher side would be met. So when that plan comes to us, we will look carefully at the detail of it, and we will make a judgment as to how that affects our statutory ballot or not. For the time being, we encourage every EIS member to vote in that ballot and to vote in the way that the Salaries Committee has recommended, which is yes to strike action and yes to action short of strike.
Andrea Bradley of the EIS Union.